Hey everyone. Today, I think this is my last day of the challenge 30 days, 30 videos in 30 days. I've learned a tremendous amount from it. I feel that I am now, um, I feel confident. I feel comfortable speaking on camera. My oration skills have dramatically improved. I have tried numerous experiments and gained a lot of information on how I want to be on camera. It feels like not so much of a big deal to be a fool in public. I am sure that these skills will come in handy, regardless of whether I continue the channel or shift into some other kind of social media or never do social media again. So I would highly recommend doing an experiment of this type. I think that if I had gone slower with it and decided like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to do a video a week, I don't know if I'd have had the steam to really develop the skill and break the mental model of me not being a YouTuber, not making a content video or whatever. I feel like I'm grateful that I decided to stick to 30 days doing it every day. Because I just really, really transformed my abilities very quickly. And now if I slow down, I have that back catalog of experience that I rapidly built up. And I'm like, yeah, it's not a big deal for me to make a video. And I think that might be a critical thing to change whatever it is that you're doing, that you're learning to do, that you're starting to do, and change each event. Changing like your baseline, so just doing a single rep isn't an event anymore. When you first start going to the gym, that in itself can feel like an event, and it takes a lot out of you emotionally, and it feels like an important thing, like, oh yeah, I'm going to the gym, like this is my fourth day. And there's something about doing something new and exciting like that is taxing, I feel like, for the nervous system, because it's still unknown. It's still, has a demand. It's unknown, and so your nervous system is a little bit more online as like, maybe I should be careful here. Maybe I should be wary of it. And I feel like I've effectively changed my baseline. So making a video isn't a big deal anymore. And so there's a lot of nervous system costs that I don't have to deal with anymore. There are other costs, don't get me wrong, but really getting on here, speaking on camera, being seen, coming up with ideas and iterating and all that stuff in this context no longer feels like a big deal. So, yeah, I've enjoyed that. And another thing is learning about the limitations of my knowledge and then how quickly those limitations get filled in, and how when I find gaps in my understanding, because as I speak, I'm learning like, oh shit, I don't quite understand this topic as well as I thought, or I'm not as competent in this thing as I thought, or, I failed in this way. And then the next day, it's like I'm keenly aware of those gaps and limitations, and then I'm thinking about them and they automatically get filled in, and my model improves, and then I come back better. So it's enhanced, reinforced. Um, my ability to learn from mistakes, and it's like changed me in that I have I now feel more confident in the learning process. I feel more faith in the process. And that's something that I wasn't originally going to talk about, this whole 30-day challenge thing, when I came on camera. It just kind of became like something that felt like I wanted to address. But, this dovetails nicely into the topic I really wanted to discuss, which is like, just don't give up. The path of transformation is fraught with doubt. You're going to want to give up. It's going to feel hopeless at many points. And when you're in the unknown, you make contact with that raw, unknown. You feel humbled. You feel incompetent. You feel helpless. And the tendency can be to step back into the known. Your mind will delude you into feeling like you're incompetent. Your mind will delude you into feeling like you're more competent when you don't go into the unknown. If you step back, you stop failing, you feel somehow more capable. You feel like, oh yeah, because you're not exposing your gaps. And so your self-esteem can actually kind of feel higher in a way when you don't go out and deliberately face the unknown. But it's a lie. It's a lie. And it makes sense how there's a lie, and it's a reasonable one from an evolutionary standpoint. And animals, if they are faced with a threat, it's not the time to learn new shit. It's not the time to be in the unknown. I don't even know if the lower animals do that, but that's a side note. But it makes sense, that when you're faced with a threat that you want to, get out of a learning mode and just implement what you do know at the highest level possible. Problem is, as humans, we can get stressed out and enter into fear states. We can get triggered by abstract shit like being on camera. Put a cat in front of a camera, they do not give a fuck about that, But we, human beings, we do get afraid. But that's what I'm saying. We're not really in the original context, or this mechanism of freezing up when we are faced with the unknown, or staying out of the unknown when we're faced with a threat. We're no longer in that situation anymore. So it is a lie. It is a lie that, your brain tells you, and it's trying to protect you, but I don't let that go. You stay in the unknown long enough, and eventually the unknown becomes the known. The unknown becomes the known. And to really be in the unknown, it's like you jump off a cliff and there's no turning back, and you fall into the water and it's black, cold. You're thrown against the rocks again and again and again, and it feels hopeless. It feels like you've made the worst mistake of your life. But then, after a while, you start to learn the territory. You start to learn. And you become competent. The unknown becomes the known. And it happens like it's magic. It feels magical. One day, despite all the hopelessness, despite all the humility or the humiliation, of making mistakes over and over again, of getting out of the comfort, getting out of your comfort zone. One day, things start to connect together. The small mistakes you made along the way start to unearth the outline of a more successful way of approaching things. And those mistakes are like flashlights that show you, they shine light on the shape of how you want to operate in the new context. And you realize, wow, I'm so fucking glad that I didn't give up, that I did stay out here and I trusted the process, and I got thrown against the rocks and I've been in the dark. And there was a small part of me that knew not to give up, not to return to the old way of being. Jumping into the stream of the unknown, and then eventually purifying and leveling up as a person. You just have to have some faith that it will happen, but it really does take faith. And if nothing else, build that faith in the process so that that's in the back of your mind. You know, the sooner you do it, the better, the more it compounds, because you learn the process of learning. You learn that, yes, being humbled, feeling helpless, you learn to be grateful for that. You learn, like, this means that I am on the process. That means I am on the path towards a new level of coherence, a new level of skill, a new level of empowerment. And the challenges I'm currently facing will no longer be challenges, but they will be replaced with more advanced challenges, which I can choose to take on or could choose not to. But I think once you go through this a few times, it becomes addicting, and you do choose to continue doing it over and over again. But yeah, that's what I have to say. Just don't give up. Stay in the unknown. And the unknown becomes the known. You already know this. You've done it many times already. When you were born, you had no choice but to do it. That's kind of the human condition. But then, we do trick ourselves into thinking that we do know things and get into our comfort zones and, all that trite shit. Well, that's all I have to talk about. Thank you.